On today's episode, I'm going to be showing you how to repair damaged drywall around your electrical outlet box or covers, so stay tuned. Welcome to Fix This House. If you're new to the channel, please consider pressing that subscribe and notification bell so you can always be in tune on DIYs, how-to videos, and product reviews that I do within this channel. As you can see, there is a huge gaping hole right there, right beside my outlet cover or electrical outlet box. And it's a lot bigger damage than you might think it is. If we take off this cover and if we try to feel around there and you look kind of just peek right behind there, there's a lot bigger damage than what it is on the outside. That is because when you have impact damage like this, you will have a lot bigger blowout at the back. So in this case, you will have to relieve a lot bigger than what you actually see. So in this case, I'm just going to measure out and kind of just measure out around 2 inches from where the damage is actually seen. So I'm going to mark that off and create a template right on the outside of it so I can just cut it off. So this, I'm just using my leveler. You can use any straight edge to mark off where you're going to cut. And again, be very careful when you're working around this because this is live wiring. Make sure you turn off the power from your circuit breaker. What I'm using here is the drywall saw. Again, all the tools I use in this video, I'll leave it in the description down below. We're just relieving off around 2 inches around this damaged area. And like what I was saying earlier, if you look right behind here, and I'll show you right now that the damage is actually a lot bigger because of that blowout. That's why you're going to have to relieve a lot bigger than what you actually see. Now there's a lot of methods to cover this. My first method is I'm going to be using these by Sheetrock, this drywall repair clips. Now these come in very, very handy. I like this because it actually works really, really well. All you have to do is just place it and clip it onto the side of the drywall. You don't have to do all 4 sides, just one side should be efficient, but it actually just clips on like this, and you have to screw it on with the provided hardware, which already comes with about 1.5 inch drywall screws. Now we're going to measure up what drywall material we need. So with your measurement, just use any type. If you have any scrap drywall material lying around, use that. I like to use my square so I can get the nice straightest edges possible. Then I'm just going to score that off with my box knife and then snap it off just like that to the back and just tear off the back piece with your box knife and you should be ready to go. And then mark off the piece that you need. In this case, I have a 2 inch by 3 inch something, and then I'm going to test fit this. Now you want to make this a little bit smaller than the hole. You don't want to make it too exact so you can have a little bit of joint compound to ooze out to the inside corners of like what you see here. Now I'm going to be placing the provided screws that came with the clips, and then I'm going to go and you might have to hold on one side and then drywall screw one side to keep it in place. When that's done, take your drywall piece. As you can see, there's meshed areas right there. That's where the drywall screws are supposed to go onto. So just place it right there. Make sure it hits one of those meshed areas and then place it right there. And surprisingly, this holds up really, really well. And as you can see, there are 2 clips there. Just take your lineman's pliers and then just rock it back and forth to cut this. And it actually comes off really, really easily. So yeah, don't worry about those clips. Right when you have it nice and placed, it holds those in place as well. Again, this is actually a good product to use when you don't have any piece of wood available, and it holds up real well just like that. Okay, now I'm going to be showing you the second method. Okay, instead of using these clips, if you have anything lying around, like for this case, I have this piece of shim. This was just a piece of scrap that was left over, and you can use any type of wood. You can use OSB board, plywood, anything that's lying around. You can even use a stir stick from paint that you get free from Home Depot or Lowe's. That works as well. Like here, I've just placed one drywall screw over this piece of wood so I can have something to hold while I screw it over, or you can just support it at the back while you place that drywall screw in to one end. Take that one off, and then you can just easily place that drywall piece right above it, and it works just as well and just as sturdy as what you did with the sheetrock clips that I showed you earlier. Again, easy as that, very easy to install. Now that it's nice and sturdy, make sure you push onto it gently, and it's nice and sturdy. What I'm doing now is I'm using my paint scraper to scrape off the excess texture around this area. As you can see, this texture is a lot bigger than what I'm going to be spraying later on. So we're just going to try to do our best to feather it in. But I want to scrape it off to make so that this mesh tape, this drywall mesh tape, will sit nicely around it and doesn't go over big bumps of texture. Okay, so what you're going to do is just going to cut out pieces of mesh tape and place it right against those seams. And then once you're done doing that, make sure that you apply your joint compound. Again, you can use different type of joint compound. I highly suggest that you use the sheetrock fast setting joint compound. You have different choices of joint compound. That's quick set. It's 5 minutes, 45 minutes, 90 minutes of work time, and I'll leave all that on the description down below. It all depends on what joint compound you want to use. Again, it doesn't really matter. It all depends on how much drying time you want to wait. Okay, so once you get the first layer down, let it set and let it dry. And as you can see, it shrinks a little bit. So you want to try to add a second coat just to fill in those shrunken areas. Now I'm going to be using my 180 grit sandpaper to make this nice and feathered onto the edges. So as you can see, I'm feathering the edges really nice and well so that when I start doing the texture around it, it blends in really well and you don't see it noticeably. Okay, so take your time, make sure you feather it nice and well, and make sure you don't over sand it, because you will have that mesh tape come out of that drywall and you will have to place another coat of joint compound. So don't over sand, make sure you only sand what you need, and make sure you vacuum and clean off the surface so that when you start spraying with it with joint compound texture, it will stick. Okay, so now I'm just using my joint compound, making it to a nice texture like here, like a yogurt type texture. And then you're gonna go and cover everything that you need to do, which is, in this case, I'm covering up the outlet so I don't get anything inside the box. Here we go. I'm using my compressor by Craftsman, and I'm using this 1/4 inch hose. I love using this, and I'm actually really love using this texture sprayer. I got this really good deal at Amazon. It works really well, simple, easy to use. I'll leave it in the description down below. And what you're going to do is load up your hopper with your mixed joint compound texture, and then spray it on. This comes with 3 different types of settings. I'm using a bigger setting for the nozzle right here, so I can try to match it up with my existing drywall. Again, the previous owner of whoever sprayed this wall used huge textures, which I highly dislike. But again, we'll try to work around it. And when you spray it, let it dry, and then we're going to paint it over. Use your roller, take off everything that you need to take off, place back your outlet cover, and it should work perfectly fine just like that. And you see, look like it looks before. It looks really bad with that blowout. And here you go. Here's the fix. You can't even tell where that damage was. Again, if you found this video helpful, please hit that big thumbs up, subscribe, and notification bell, and I'll see you friends on the next video.